UAVs, more commonly known as drones, are changing the way we capture details about our environment. What was once a slow and laborious process that also risked the safety of adjusters, inspectors, and roof estimators alike is a thing of the past. Using a drone's onboard high-resolution camera and an array of advanced sensors, the Geomni mobile app uses automated flight planning to capture imagery for residential and commercial properties. UAV imagery gets converted into Geomni roof and property data packages, providing you with roof measurements, including elevation, area, slope, pitch, and more, all without ever climbing a ladder. This imagery and data, combined with Geomni's extensive library of baseline imagery, allows you to compare current and historical property images to identify changes or pre-existing damage. Geomni imagery and data packages are fully integrated with Xactimate, the industry-leading estimating platform. Our solutions, combined with Xactimate, automatically generate a 3D native sketch model of the structure, with comprehensive line item integration for the fastest claim scoping and estimating on the market. Worried about training your own UAV pilots and maintaining a fleet of drone equipment? By ordering Geomni UAV inspection services, you get all the benefits of a UAV inspection without ever needing to purchase a drone or step foot on the property. Order with confidence, knowing that our nationwide network of UAV pilots are fully trained and certified. Contact Geomni today to learn more about Geomni's UAV solutions.
We live? All right, and we're live. So thanks everybody for tuning in. This is a new experiment for us. We're going to be live streaming the unveiling of some of our new tools here at Geomni. Image to Scope. We're going to be taking a look at our mobile app, and we're going to be giving away our free Geomni property data packages. So we're really excited to be doing stuff like this. Hopefully, let me not kick the microphone here. Hopefully we're going to be able to engage you as an audience and really go through everything that we're going to be working on. Stop, take time, answer questions. We really want this to be interactive between the adjusters, and we know that you guys are getting ready to go work Hurricane Florence, or you're working storm somewhere in the country right now. So this is really for the independent adjusters and staff adjusters. We really didn't want to just go work with our corporate partners here. We wanted to get on the ground level and work with everybody out in the field and show them some of these tools that we've been working on for the past couple years and how they're really going to help and improve your life as an adjuster. So we're super excited to be revealing some of this stuff today. But as promised, we want to be able to give away a free Geomni property data package. This is roughly run around $75 to everybody who's going to be watching the stream. So let's go ahead and flip over. I'm going to show you sort of the process here to redeem your free data package. We'll get right to the good stuff right away. So let's kick over to the screen share. So there's really only 3 steps to redeem the Geomni property data package. And again, this is the windows, the walls, the doors. This is everything about the property, all of our measurements that you're going to get. So, with these hurricanes, you're going to be doing a lot of estimation. That's not just the roof. You're going to have siding damage. Windows and doors are going to be messed up. So you're going to want to be able to get everything about the property. So it's 3 steps. The first thing that you need to do is you need to send us a message on Facebook with your Xactimate ID or your Geomni ID. Those 2 things are really the same, but basically we just need that so we can credit your account when you use the mobile app to get a free data package. It's basically just going to zero out any of the balance. You're not going to pay anything, so you're just going to be able to go in there and get a free data package. With that being said, the second thing you have to do is actually download the mobile app. So as of right now, we do support iOS, and I'm proud to announce that next week we'll also have Android available. So if you are working the storm, you're going to have the free data package for both iOS and Android. And the last thing is after you use the mobile app, you're going to get an email with a link to download your ESX file. That's the file, it runs pretty much everything in Xactimate. That file is actually going to be what we use to import the data over into Xactimate. In other circumstances, you'd probably use like Exact Analysis, or if you're used to ordering from Geomni, because this is really for the adjuster one by one, it's not being tied to any specific account. You're not actually going to have it as part of your traditional ordering mechanism. So it's going to come in via email, you'll download it, and then you'll import it into Xactimate. So that's the process there. Again, send us a message on Facebook, direct message the Geomni Facebook account with your Xactimate or your Geomni ID, and that's going to be how you actually get the data package. So with that being said, We want to move very quickly because I know you guys are really pressed for time and we don't want this to be an extremely long video. We want to be able to go right into using some of the new tools with Geomni. So the first thing I want to show you is actually the Geomni mobile app. So unfortunately with our streaming setup, I can't pull out my phone and broadcast to the stream and show you everything that's going on. But what I can do is walk you through a couple of just images of the app so you can get a basis. And then even though this is a live stream, don't worry too much about if you miss something. You can always go back and rewind. And we're monitoring questions over here as well. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and put them in the chat, and we'll try and get to them as we can. So let's just jump in here. So this is just a couple of screenshots from the mobile app, and I'm just going to walk you through them very briefly, and then this is going to give you a feel for what you're going to do. So once you've downloaded the app, you're going to come to the sign in screen here, and you're just going to sign in. You can use the same sign in, and actually it's preferable that you use for Xactimate to sign into the Geomni mobile app. This is your Geomni or your Xactimate ID. Once you're in, you're going to see your project screen. This is going to be a list of all the projects that you have available. Here you're going to want to click that plus button down in the bottom right hand corner. We're generally going to use that to start a new project. But before we get to that, I want to actually just walk you through a few settings. In the upper left hand corner, you can see we have this hamburger menu right over there. I'll point it out. That's going to be what actually gets us over to the settings. And then we just want to come in here, and you're going to have to enter payment information. Unfortunately, the app won't work with it, but don't worry about that. What we're going to be doing today isn't going to require your payment information, but we're simply going to have that information available so that we can tie it to the account. You'll just see here it's pretty standard. We don't store anything. This is one thing I want to point out. We don't keep this information in the app. It's basically just going to be placed in here so that we're able to process a transaction through our payment vendor. But Geomni's not looking to get any of your personal information. Just know that we have to have it to process the account. And here's going to be sort of as we jump into anything. So as we go back a couple images here to this plus button, this is how we start a new project. And really it's how we access a lot of the cool features of the Geomni mobile app. So what we want to do here is we want to start a new project, and this is going to be what you get when you start a new project screen. This is actually going to give us the ability to make that data package request so we can get all of those measurements. So there's an interesting thing that happens here. You may or may not know that Geomni has a fleet of airplanes, and we're constantly flying the United States. And right now as we speak, we're preparing and staging airplanes for our post-catastrophe response to Hurricane Florence. That being said, as you find yourself working claims, there may be occasions where you want to receive a Geomni property data package, but you could be in an area where, due to it being really rural or a remote location, we're not actually going to have that data available. So, for example, I know we're not talking about Kansas here, but maybe in some other parts of the country, you want to order this data package and we just don't have the imagery. The really neat thing about the Geomni mobile app is that it allows you to take pictures, and that's what you can see on screen, of the property. You take about 10 or so photos of the property from around all sides of it, and no matter where we're at, we can actually build a full Geomni property report. And we'll see that in Xactimate in a minute. It's the windows, the walls, the doors, all of the information that we've really been talking about today. That's going to come right inside this. So if you're in a really remote location, you're like, man, I don't want to measure this house out, but it's got damage everywhere. It's been hit by a tornado or a hailstorm. This is going to give you all the measurement data without having to go and actually measure any of it. So this is a really neat trick. And the last part is just confirming it. And there's a lot of tutorials online. So again, don't feel like if you're not getting all the information that you need here. Our Geomni YouTube channel actually has quite a bit of information that you can walk through to be able to step through all the processes here inside of the Geomni mobile app. Now, moving forward, this is how you'll know that you got a free data package. When you make your Geomni property request, you can see there we have the order at $75, but you're receiving a $75 discount, so your credit card will not be charged for this. So you'll get your one free one, but after that, you're going to have to pay for the data package. And that's it. That's how you use the mobile app. There really isn't a whole lot going on there. It's quite a simple process. Hopefully, you can figure it out on the first try, but if not, we've got a lot of support staff set up to help you through this. We're going to make some of those channels available to you as well, so that you're going to be able to have some help if this is your first time using some of these programs and you don't quite get them all. So let's look over, seeing a lot of positive feedback here from our Facebook group. Sounds exciting. All right. Looks good. So again, we're going to be looking at this, and if we have any questions or feedback that you guys want to give us, we want to hear it over here, and we're certainly looking forward to engaging with you guys as we move through this stuff. But that being said, we do want to move right into the core of what we're working today, which is what we're working with is the image to scope tools inside of Xactimate. So again, we want to keep the broadcast short. I know I'm going very fast. If I'm running through everything, just feel free to watch the video a few times. I don't want to try and confuse anybody. But we're going to jump right into it. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up Xactimate here. And as you can see, I'm going to be using the new version of Xactimate today. I want to point one thing out. The image to scope tools work in both the new version of Xactimate as well as Xactimate 28. When we send you an email confirming that you've got your free data package, we're also going to be sending a link out for a small update with Xactimate 28. The image to scope tools enable a lot of new power in Xactimate, a lot of new functionality. So what that means is you're going to actually have to get a new update for that to be able to utilize it. But I'm a really big fan of the new version of Xactimate. It's got a lot of power and a lot of new features and tools that I really enjoy. But I want to show you today how these tools work with the new Geomni data package, including image to scope. So we're going to jump right in, and we're going to go ahead and pull up a claim. Let's get this here. Just close these things out. So this is something you're probably very familiar with in terms of Xactimate. This is the sketch screen. As of right now, we'll just sort of simulate what's happened. You've already used the Omni Mobile App. You've taken your pictures of the property. You've requested a Geomni property data package. And now you want to use that data package in Xactimate to write your claim up, to have all of that data available. So we're going to do that starting from there. We've already done the import. Now again, if you're not familiar with how to import an ESX, there's lots of resources available online. But you're going to want to import that ESX, and then you're going to open up that ESX inside of Xactimate and start working with it. And the main way that you'll know that you've got the Geomni data inside of Xactimate is with this little icon in the upper left-hand corner, and that's the measurement import icon. So I'm just going to click that, and it's going to show me my Geomni property report import. I'm going to select it. And there it is. We've got here we're looking at what's essentially a Geomni roof data package because we can see the roof measurements. But as we actually go into 3D, we can see that we actually have a full Geomni property data package. Like we talked about, this is not exclusive to the roof and the rake, the eaves, the valley measurements, but it's also the walls, the windows, and the doors. So because you're able to take those images, or we're able to use our really high resolution baseline imagery, we're giving you the full property measurements as part of this data package. So that's setting over here. And if you wanted to, in the old-fashioned way, you'd be able to go in here and start applying all of your line items, whether it's to the wall elements or to the roof elements, and start actually working through the process of trying to settle out the claim. Really with the traditional, here's all my line items in Xactimate, I'm going to apply them one at a time or using my macro. It's a very great way to do this. Going to get stopped for a question. Does this just provide a PDF, or does it also populate into Xactimate? It populates into Xactimate, yep. And I think we've responded to that. This is it does go directly into Xactimate. If you're working for a IA firm or a carrier that has Geomni enabled, you'll generally have a button to request it inside of Xactimate. But if you're an IA and you're working for just a random firm or a random carrier, you're going to want to use the Omni Mobile App to make your request. That's how you're actually going to originate it. You'll get an email, and then you'll copy it into Xactimate. So Craig, I hope that answers your question. All right. So moving right along, we have our Geomni property data package. But you may have noticed something interesting about my sketch screen, and that is that I have two new tabs here. These tabs are actually going to be the new tools that we've built into Xactimate. So to just show you the pure power of these tools, I'm going to go ahead and select the Geomni tab, and you're going to see it sort of changes what we're used to in the sketch screen. We're still able to see the house in 3D, but for this I'm going to go ahead and switch it to 2D. And I just want to show you exactly what it is that we can do with this right here. So we've got all of these measurements, and because Geomni is using high resolution imagery, whether it's from our airplane like we talked about, or from the phone, or even potentially a drone, that's something we've not talked about today, one of the things we're able to do is identify a lot of information about the roof, about the property in general, specifically the material type, the vents, some of the flashing, the steepness of the roof, all of the things that make this roof unique. And I was an independent adjuster. I know exactly what the problems are when you're working a storm like Florence. If you're working for multiple carriers, or if you're working for a carrier who has sort of a different way of estimating the roof or estimating on the individual's policy, it can become very complex keeping track of all of the rules that an insurance company. Some of them don't want universal starter course. Some of them want you to do the waste a little bit differently. So what we've built with Image to Scope is a unique way to handle all of those differences that a carrier would be able to impose upon you, so that you never forget anything and you don't have to spend any time writing your roof replacement estimates. So we're going to do this now. I want to go ahead and jump right into this roof. I'm going to select everything going on here on the roof. This is, for this instance, I'm going to pretend to be writing a full roof replacement. And I need to give the system a little bit of direction. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dictate my action. I'm going to tell it, let's replace everything. So now you can start to see a list of replacement items has pre-populated based off of data that we've retrieved about the roof. For example, we know that there's laminated shingles, but we don't know the quality. That's one thing. Despite how amazing drones are and how amazing our airplanes are, they don't have magic. They don't have X-ray vision. We can't see through the roof. All we can really see is the surface of the roof. So what we have here is a red indicator telling us that there's something we don't know. What's the quality of this roof? So as an adjuster, I'm going to use either my decision-making ability to examine the shingles, or a shingle gauge to determine what quality the shingle is. Here this is going to be probably a high quality, I'll give it that. But whatever it is in the field is actually what you're going to put in there. Waste, we're probably 15%. Let's change that to 15% on the roof waste. And the removal, that's going to stay the same as the roof. And we're not going to do anything with the high charge here, but we're going to see something really neat. Next question, Cornice Returns. There's Cornice Returns on this house, and adjusters, in my opinion, have really struggled a lot of times with Cornice Returns. It's sometimes pretty hard to estimate them. With Image to Scope, you simply just tell us what you want to do with the Cornice Returns. We're going to replace existing. And there again, we see it. It automatically populated the things that we're going to do. We just need to tell it the quality. There's the high. The sheathing, if maybe it's a wind damage claim, we don't have any sheathing damage, we're going to leave that alone. You can see there's a lot of questions here, but there's generally a lot of information that goes into the roof. The interesting thing about Image to Scope is that you don't have to fill this out every single time you use it. You really only have to fill it out once. That one time will allow you to set up your user settings, and then it will be able to remember that. We'll get into this in a minute, but it can remember all of your user settings. Some people like to compare it to a macro, but that's really not fair. This is not a macro. This is intelligently looking at the way that the roof is built and being able to process that information every single time based off of the data that we received when we examine the property with our imagery. So we'll give something like drip edge. This is pretty common. We're going to remove and replace. Maybe some of your carriers only want you to replace the drip edge. They don't actually want you to remove and replace it. We could configure a replacement only. But just to show you this, we'll remove and replace it. Ice and water shield. This house is in Utah, so it gets ice and water shield in the eaves and valleys. We're going to leave that there. Again, felt, we don't know what's going on. We'll pick a 30-pound felt. That's pretty good for this type of roof. Valley metal. No valley metal. We're going to have felt there. What about the flashing, sidewall action? This is a really touchy subject a lot of times for adjusters. It's hard to go and exactimate, pick out a one-story roof element that terminates into a two-story wall. So when you have those elements, you want to actually properly flash along those lines. It's very hard to estimate that out. With this tool, all you have to do is come in here and tell us what you want to do. Are you going to replace it? Are you going to do it on the sidewall or the end wall? We'll put it on both. And then what's the flashing type? We're picking all of this stuff out for you. And then here we have the eaves and the rakes. We can leave those alone, or we could take them away. Ridge cap. Our pipe jacks, we're going to leave those as replace, just to very quickly get through here, and we're going to hit add items. So again, I've generated a complete roof estimate by going through and just telling the system what it needs to know about the roof. This is a very easy way to write these estimates. And now we can see the fruits of our labor. So I'm going to switch over to the items mode that we can see over here, and I'm just going to close this dialog. And now we can pick through and see what we've done. For this roof, we've written a $27,615 replacement estimate. That's entirely based off of all of the information that we know about the roof from the measurements. So let's see it in action. There's the tear off. There's the steep charges. Here we're going to just move through them. You can see this one's really just limited to the that little section of the chimney there on the 1012s. There's our over 1212s, our 712s. There's our drip edge going around the perimeter, our ice and water shield. And now this is one of the areas where this system does very good. The felt is being applied to the roof, but we didn't put the felt over top of the ice and water shield. I got in trouble as a new adjuster because I would actually put the felt over the ice and water shield. I never did my deductions. This system does all of that for you, so you don't have to worry about tripping up over things. There we can see our step flashing going around the chimney, going around those one-story roof elements that are terminating into a sidewall. Kick-out diverters, L flashing, laminate. There's our shingles. Again, our additions to our steep charges. But let's go see the other cool stuff. There's our pipe jacks. We've got 3 pipe jacks, each identified and placed appropriately on the roof where they should be. There's the exhaust cap, and then there's our turtle vents. We identified all of them from the imagery. You just have to tell us what's being done with it. It will automatically populate that for you. And then the last thing is the ridge cap. So we wrote a full roof replacement estimate by clicking probably less than 10 buttons that we really don't even have to click. When you fill out your estimate or your user settings, which are over here, we've been playing between these 3 tabs at the top. You can see the estimate settings, the items, and the actions. This is actually where you can set this up so that every one of your estimates will receive this when you request a Geomni property data package. So just to come into here, you've got your user settings. I'm not going to get into these in detail right now. We may get some questions over it, but this is actually going to allow you to go through here and set up user defaults and apply them to the current estimate or apply them to all of your future estimates. So as you go through this list of items here, you can actually configure how image to scope will pre-populate all of your estimate items as you go through it. So this is the really interesting part of image to scope. You set it one time, and then all of your estimates from there will follow that configuration. So the goal is, if you're working for an insurance company, you set your user settings up. Once they're set up, you never have to worry about putting something wrong or bad in the estimate. And if your carrier says something like, hey, we're not going to do this anymore, we're changing it. I've had that happen to me several times on a storm. Hey, we're not going to pay for Universal Starter Course anymore. Okay, you come in and you make one change to your user settings. All of your estimates from then on out will reflect that change in the Universal Starter Course. And that's true of everything in all of the line items for image to scope. So there's image to scope as a nutshell. This is really one part of image to scope. I'm going to show you the second part of image to scope. We've really looked at the scoping part of image to scope, which is generating all of these line items. But we're now going to switch over and look at the imaging part. So let's go over here and just take a quick look. Janet Smith, that's awesome. Buck Lewis, awesome. Got a thumbs up from Elizabeth. Chris, nice. Craig, thank you. Thank you guys for all tuning into this. Again, if you're not part of the live broadcast or you've got some friends that you want to show this stuff to, this video is going to be available afterwards. So we'll let you share it around. We're not going to cut off the free data package today. We may let this run for just a few days. That way people who don't get to see this video will still have an opportunity to catch up and see some of the stuff here. We don't want to just make this the probably 40 or 50 people we're going to get on the live stream. We want all the people who are going to see this in the next couple of days to have an opportunity to work with it. So thank you guys for the engagement. I'm really excited to have you here to be showing some of these new tools. So it's a great opportunity. We're hoping that this will change the way that you guys write estimates, and it will really improve your quality of life when it comes to the work that you do out in the field. So let's go ahead. We're going to jump back over into Xactimate now, and I'm going to show you the second half of image to scope. This part is really more designed around a drone. I'm just going to admit it. It's really designed to help us with drone imagery and the way that we're going to use and interact with drone imagery. So what we have here is we have a list of, or a area of very different faces of the roof that are all textured and essentially laying over various roof elements in here. So when you use a drone, and I don't have it enabled for this one, we actually have a set of tool sets that are enabled. And what you can see here is we have the ability to lay test squares, hail markers, wind area markers, and all of the various roof items that are going to go into actually analyzing a claim. So using the image to scope tools in this field over here, and we have a lot of training document available online. So again, we're not going to do it all. This is really just to demonstrate what happens here. This is going to enable you to use these tools when you use drone imagery to actually annotate the faces of a roof with a test square, with hail markers, with wind markers and wind area markers, so that you can do a one-to-one assessment of the roof. And when those annotations are laid in, this part of the tool, the Geomni tab, will enable all of that data to be fed over. So let's just look at this, as it were. We'll fire up another one of these. Let's get back over here, and we're going to do a second one. And we'll simulate a partial roof replacement as we would if we had annotated just a part of the roof. So I'm going to come here now, and I'm going to just draw in a new Geomni data package. And we've got it here again, but this time I'm only going to pick on a certain part of the roof, similar to what may happen during a hailstorm. So let's say the north and the west faces of the roof have been damaged during this event. Well, using the image tab that we looked at a second ago, you would actually lay your hail or wind markers on this area, and then you would be able to navigate through the annotation of those, and it would trigger all of these slopes to be set up to receive image to scope. Whereas the other unaffected slopes, and I know policyholders don't like it when you slope their roof, but unfortunately, we both know that in some cases, your carrier is going to mandate that you only do a partial roof replacement. Image to scope will also accommodate that. So here we're simulating just the north and the west faces, and of course the orientation doesn't look right. You can see down in the bottom right hand corner, north is actually in a different direction. We're looking at the data package from the perspective of the front of the roof. So you really are still working with the north and west slopes. It just doesn't appear that way. And again, we'll just do the same thing. We'll do our replace existing. We'll give it the high quality shingles. We'll set up the Cornice Returns, and we'll just do felt just to very quickly show you what this tool looks like over here, and we'll add items. And now you can see we've only generated 16 items towards the total roof replacement. And when we come into our items, we actually see now that the areas we work in only affect the areas that we've manipulated under the tool. So we're not putting all new material down all over the place. And it's very evident when you get into things like the turtle vents. You can see here that the turtle vents are only being replaced on the slopes where there's actual replacement occurring. So a face like face 6 here isn't receiving any turtle vent replacement because no work is being done on the slope. This is a very important distinction. So you're not just up there counting vents. We're actually looking at where the vents are placed at on the roof. Yep. So I've ordered sketches but never used image to scope. Seems legit. Yep, that's hopefully so. This is a great tool to be able to use this. And guys, we're headed towards the 30-minute mark. We want to keep this. How does the partial repair work with ridges? That's a great question. So we're actually going to defer that over to another project manager we have here with us, which is Jake Jensen. Jake, do you want to talk to us about what it looks like when how a partial repair operation is going to occur on ridges?
So anytime when you have a partial roof replacement, it's going to look at the face that is replaced. If it touches the ridge, then it's going to replace it. So if you're replacing that face and the ridge is touching that face, it's going to replace that face. But if you're going to do a repair on that face, then the repair is going to ask you the linear feet of that ridge and how much of that ridge cap is going to be replaced versus replacing the entire thing. So it looks at what face is going to be replaced, and then if that face is going to be replaced, any ridges that are touching that face are also going to have to come off and be replaced as well.
Great. Thank you, Jake. And so Jake is our project manager. He is actually one of the lead parties in developing the image to scope tools, especially in Xactimate, whereas I do more work with the drone stuff. Hopefully, Mark, that answered your question. And again, we're going to switch here now to just a little bit of a QA section again for the last couple minutes, and we may run a little bit past 10:30 here. Are there any questions that you guys have for this? we'll close things out in just a minute, but I'm going to be watching this for the next little bit and seeing if there's any questions we can answer. We'll sort of close things out with a Q&A. Hopefully you've got a lot of value in seeing what we've got for the tool. So we'll keep that up and just be looking to close things out over here. So we'll give it a second. Again, I'm just going to be going through this information. And I'm going to restate some of the things, if you're new to the broadcast, that we've already talked about before. So how do we get the data? How do we get this free data package? How do we get the information that we're looking at today? We use it through the Geomni mobile app. You download that off of the Apple App Store as of right now. This coming week, we're actually going to have it available for Android. So if you're headed out to work Hurricane Florence, hopefully Android will be available before you touch your first claim. Once you have made the, you're going to make, sorry, let me go back. You're actually going to make a request to us by direct messaging Geomni with your XID or your Geomni ID. That's on our Facebook page. You download the app and you import the ESX into Xactimate. It's really an easy 3-step process. If you're just tuning in, again, this video will be available as a rebroadcast. You're going to be able to go in and watch it and actually work with all of these tools. You don't have to worry about all of the learning this in the last 2 or 3 minutes of the video. It's going to be available for you to watch again. So once you've imported it using the tools in Xactimate, you're going to have that data available to you right here, and that's going to be good to go. Again, the last thing we want to cover up, the Geomni mobile app is designed to help you when you're in a situation where you do not have the access or availability of our aerial imagery, our high-resolution baseline, but you want to have all of the exterior property measurements as well as the tools that we've shown you today. You're going to use the Geomni mobile app to make that happen. So we've got that on screen there for you now. And hopefully this has been a great learning experience for you. Again, we encourage you to share this video, like the Geomni Facebook page, send us your XID so we can get that information. We're really happy to be able to bring these tools to you. If there's any questions that you guys have, again, we want to have that level of interaction, so feel free to ask them through the Geomni Facebook page, or you can always reach out to Geomni support. We can try and help you through some of the questions. Some of the other things are, if you are an IA firm, you know, whether you're large or small, and you're interested in rolling out all of these tools to your adjuster, whether it's for this storm or for another storm, you may or may not have a Verisk sales executive. So if you're a company and you're looking to give this to all of your adjusters, we do have some negotiated price rates that we're able to give you, so you're not going to pay off the shelf for it. So if you're an adjuster watching this and you're thinking, man, I'd really like this, can we get my IA firm to do that? There's a possibility that we could work out a deal with your firm so that you're able to receive these at a discounted rate, so you're not going to pay off the shelf prices. We can onboard those firms. So reach out to your firms and see if they're interested in using this, or if you work for a firm, reach out to your Verisk sales rep, or if you don't have one, just reach out to us. I think a lot of that information is available online. We can post some of it through our Facebook channel. So if you're interested in onboarding with this stuff, we'd love you to do that. So that's it. We've hit 10:30 our time, 12:30 your time. We're ready to wrap this thing up. We don't see any new questions here, but that's okay. We're going to be responding to these as people get to see this over the day. We really want to thank you for tuning into the broadcast and to watching this stuff. Hopefully this was a successful experiment. You've been able to see everything that we're doing with image to scope. We'd like to be able to engage you like this with some of the new stuff we roll out. We have some exciting innovations coming in the interior sensing space, as well as some other neat things we're going to be doing with the exterior. Obviously, we have a lot of work that we've been doing with drones. We want to be able to provide maximum value to you guys, the adjuster, to improve your quality of life, the accuracy at which you settle your claims, and the safety that you're able to settle them with. We don't want you up on roofs. We'd like to be able to invent and develop technologies that keep you on the ground. So we're very excited to be engaging with you guys as adjusters, independent adjusters out in the field for this sort of work. So thank you, and we'll sign off from there, and we'll call that a day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.